Hello, this is Sarah Braasch. Welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a video as promised. Yes, I'm wearing red satin pajamas, the latest in quarantine chic. And I wanted to do a video as promised about why I think that Twitter's Jack Dorsey should not be able to employ defensive tactics to resist a takeover by Elliott management. So if you have been reading the news about what's been happening, so this hedge fund, I guess you would call it a hedge fund, called, I guess in the news that they're being referred to as an activist investor, but I think they're a hedge fund. This actually isn't really my area of expertise, but I've just been working on a project involving corporate control markets, so I know a little bit. I know probably just enough to be dangerous when it comes to corporate control markets. But so I think they would be referred to as a hedge fund. And anyway, so I have been working for years now on a project with Yale Sterling Law School professor Alan Schwartz, and he's been working with a professor from Columbia, Ronald Gilson, and I've been working specifically with Alan, and he's absolutely wonderful and brilliant. So what I've been doing for Alan for years now is I created an agent-based computational model in MATLAB and created simulations of what is called a corporate control market. So this hedge fund, which would include institutions which I would refer to as hedge funds, which would be like this Elliott management institution, and they are interested in, and so hedge funds, some of them will be interested in taking over what they consider to be mismanaged firms. So apparently this Elliott management believes that Twitter is being mismanaged. I don't think I disagree. I think I agree with that. And so they were actually interested in taking over Twitter, and they were actually interested in replacing Jack Dorsey as CEO. Don't think that's a bad idea, but apparently they made some agreement. They came to some agreement. So they're going to have 2 independent board members, and for now, Jack Dorsey is going to retain his position as CEO of Twitter, but he has to meet very specific thresholds and benchmarks in terms of performance, what is being expected in terms of average daily users and revenue. So I think this might be good. I read one article that said that despite, what has been sort of a fixation, seemingly a fixation, ostensibly a fixation of Jack Dorsey as CEO of Twitter, which I interpret as his sort of crusade against anyone, booting anyone from the platform who strays even a hair from woke intersectional feminism dogma, including myself. Me included. I was permanently suspended from Twitter. I obviously have been able to get my Twitter account back. So I have a number of videos below about that experience and what I had to go through to get my Twitter account back, and what I suggest other people do to get their Twitter accounts back if they feel that they have been wrongfully permanently suspended. So anyway, so I think that, well, this one article spoke with some of these woke intersectional feminist activist organizations and persons with whom Jack Dorsey had established relationships, especially in the past year or two, and how he now basically has said to them, or seemingly has said to them, sayonara, because his focus now has to be on attaining these benchmarks as dictated by Elliott management, or he will get the boot as CEO from Twitter again, which I'm sure is something he doesn't want. So I think that might be good because I think that it'll be good because now hopefully, since the focus is on reaching these benchmarks, they're not going to be fixated on trying to boot everyone who strays but a hair from woke intersectional feminism dogma from the platform. They're not going to be trying to boot from the platform anyone who has legitimate defamation claims against their major players, including public figures with blue check marks and millions of followers, as they did to me. So I think this could be a good thing. So anyway, I wanted to do this video specifically about why I think that Jack Dorsey should not be able to employ any defensive tactics to resist a takeover by Elliott management. I think it would be good if Twitter was taken over by Elliott management, and I hope that eventually that is the ultimate outcome. But anyway, so I've been working on this model and simulations in MATLAB for Alan Schwartz and for Ronald Gilson. I've been working specifically with Alan Schwartz, Sterling Law Professor at Yale Law School, an absolutely wonderful man. And so it's been a very successful relationship, professional relationship, and a very successful project. And drum roll, I have good news. So the final version of the paper that he and Ronald Gilson wrote, using all of the data that I created for them, using my model, that paper will be published soon in Harvard Business Law Review, which I guess is the cream of the crop in terms of where they could and would have been able to publish that paper. So I'm extremely happy. And I'm not an author, but they do thank me in the paper. So I'm real happy about that. And if I can get access to it somehow, I'll post it on Twitter, etc. So anyway, in a nutshell, my model indicates and would seem to suggest, although it's a very sort of rudimentary thing at this point, but the model that I have created would seem to suggest that to maximize social welfare, construed in dollars, of course, that Jack Dorsey should not be able to employ defensive tactics to resist a takeover by Elliott management. And I think that that is probably correct. I think that is probably the correct assessment of the situation. I think that Twitter is mismanaged and has been mismanaged by Jack Dorsey. And I think and I hope ultimately that they are taken over by Elliott management. Okay, so I will keep this relatively short. I love you all so much. Your support and kind words mean everything to me. We are going through a moment of cultural insanity, but we're going to make it through. What's the Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times. We sure as hell are living in interesting times. And the fight for justice and to restore civil liberties, including due process on campuses and everywhere, must continue, even in the midst of the pandemic, even from self-isolation in my red satin pajamas. But I'll have my PayPal, me, and GoFundMe links below. Please support me. We are going to get through this. We're going to stand together. I love you all so much. Have a great night.